begin our look at sports on the baseball diamond Sunday. The results simply were not there for both Big Apple baseball teams, but perhaps the Yankees get a pass since they had won 8 straight coming in. First, the good. Sunday, the Bronx Bombers celebrated Old Timers Day at the big ballpark in the Bronx. It marked the first return of Mariano Rivera, who is set to join the National Baseball Hall of Fame in July. You might have believed Mo had nothing left to accomplish on a baseball diamond, having recorded a major league record 652 saves, 42 more in the postseason, and earning selection as the first unanimous inductee into the Hall of Fame. You would have been wrong. Rivera fulfilled a few of his remaining big league fantasies in the 73rd annual Old Timers Day. Nearly 6 years later, after wrapping up his career, he legged out an inside the park home run and caught a fly ball in center field too. Mariano does it all. In the game that counted Sunday, J. Happ didn't have it for the Pinstripers, though. Jose Altuve hit a leadoff homer, and the Houston Astros beat the streaking New York Yankees 9-4 to end a season-high 7-game skid for the Stros. As rough a game as that was for the Pinstripers, nothing could be worse than it was over for the Mets in Chicago. Javier Baez hit the 100th homer of his career, a 3-run drive in the 8th inning as the Chicago Cubs overcame another home run by Pete Alonso to beat the New York Mets 5-3 on Sunday. With the Mets clinging to a 1-run lead, Baez launched his 19th homer of the season with Kyle Schwarber and Anthony Rizzo on base and 1 out. Baez sent an 0-2 pitch from Seth Lugo halfway up the right field bleachers. That led to this post-game scene. Mets manager Mickey Callaway cursed at Newsday reporter Tim Healy, and pitcher Jason Vargas had to be restrained from charging him during a confrontation in the team's clubhouse. Plenty of frustration there. Reporters asked Callaway repeatedly about his decision to stick with Lugo instead of going to closer Edwin Diaz. After the press conference, Callaway walked past Healy in the clubhouse. Healy told Callaway he would see you tomorrow, and Callaway responded by calling Healy one of them not so nice words. Callaway walked away and then returned, cursing at Healy again and telling him to leave the clubhouse. Vargas then stared down Healy and eventually tried to charge him. Players stepped in to restrain the veteran left-hander. No punches were thrown, and Healy left the clubhouse moments later. The Mets have issued an apology to the reporter and Newsday. The positive note for the Mets Sunday was certainly Alonso, who broke Darryl Strawberry's rookie franchise record for home runs. Alonso connected in his 77th game, while Strawberry hit 26 in 133 games in 1983. Alonso now stands at the top with 27. The Mets' record for homers in a season is 41, shared by Carlos Beltran and Todd Hundley. In addition, Alonso is nearing Mark McGwire's major league record for homers by a rookie before the All-Star break, 33, set in 1987. The Mets begin a 4-game series in Philadelphia tonight. The Yankees begin a 3-game series with Toronto at home tonight. Bronx Bombers are also gearing up for their trip to London this weekend, where they'll face the Boston Red Sox and another MLB first time ever in Europe. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. In U.S. Women's World Cup action, the Americans will square off against Spain today in the knockout round. Meanwhile, France survived a scare and a half from Brazil in the round of 16 at the 2019 Women's World Cup on Sunday in France, only to come out on the other side with a 2-1 extra time victory and book their place in the quarterfinals. This keeps alive the most anticipated game of the World Cup, France versus the U.S. women's national team, pending today's results. The men are also kicking you-know-what in Copa America. They dismantled Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago in their last 2 matchups. On the NHL ice, the New Jersey Devils grabbed star American Jack Hughes with the first pick in the draft Friday night as expected. But in a devil of a deal, New Jersey revved up its rebuild by acquiring one of the top defensemen to go along with the first overall draft pick. The Devils made the biggest move of the second day of the NHL draft Saturday, before any picks were made, by acquiring all-star PK Subban from the Nashville Predators for 2 players and a pair of draft picks. As for the New York Rangers, they've had some 2 weeks. The Broadway Blue Shirts roster will surely look different by the time training camp opens at the end of the summer, but they've made some key additions already. Number 2 overall pick Kaapo Kakko is expected to contribute right away. The Rangers also made key additions on the blue line defensively with Jacob Trouba and Adam Fox. I can definitely see the Rangers-Devils rivalry rebounding quickly. We're only a week away from NBA free agency. Let the chaos begin. Toronto Raptors star Kawhi Leonard will decline his 2019-2020 player option worth $21.3 million to become an unrestricted free agent, league sources told Yahoo Sports. The 6'7" All-Star will be one of the marquee free agents on the open market. The Raptors are the only team, though, that can offer Leonard a max contract for 5 years at $190 million. The 27-year-old newly minted world champion is believed to be seriously considering re-signing with the Raptors, sources have said. All signs are that Kevin Durant is on his way to the Brooklyn Nets, too. That could mean Kyrie Irving will join him, which could mean that D'Angelo Russell will look elsewhere in free agency. Reports have D. Russ going to Phoenix or back to the L.A. Lakers now that Magic Johnson is out of the front office. In motor racing, Lewis Hamilton could overtake Michael Schumacher's record haul of 91 wins by the end of the season. The Mercedes driver is accelerating toward a sixth title after Sunday's French Grand Prix took his tally to 79 career wins with 6 victories in 8 races so far this season. With 13 races remaining, Hamilton has a mathematical chance of celebrating win number 92 in Abu Dhabi if he continues to steamroll. No driver in the history of the sport dating back to 1950 has won more than 13 races in a season or conjured up a run of more than 9 triumphs in a row. France was Hamilton's 4th on the trot. No team has won more than 11 in a row in the modern era. Mercedes is now on number 10. So dominant in F1. Dominant was the operative word in IndyCar on Sunday after finishing second in 3 of the last 4 IndyCar races. Alexander Rossi took the lead in lap 1 of Sunday's showdown at Road America and didn't look back as he easily dominated the race to take his second victory of the season. Rossi would challenge race pole sitter Colton Herta for the lead in turn 1 of the 14-turn Wisconsin road course, successfully passing him in turn number 2. And NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. won Sunday's Cup race at Sonoma Raceway to earn his 4th victory of the year and his 2nd consecutive victory on the road course. Truex led the final 24 laps and held off a charging Kyle Busch, with Busch having tires that were 3 laps fresher than Truex's. With the win, Truex ties Busch for the most wins on the season and for the most road course wins among active drivers with 4. Truex also tied Tony Stewart for the 2nd most wins at Sonoma with 3. And on a final sports roundup note, the College World Series, their finals begin tonight from Omaha. The best of 3 series features Michigan and Vanderbilt. It's the best team against the team playing the best. Vandy should win because it has the scariest lineup in the sport, but Michigan isn't just an underdog riding a wave, and the Wolverines are hitting everything, especially when it matters. It should be a wonderful series. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a look at the only positive for the Amazons. This morning, I easily could have went with another C-list on the great Mariano Rivera, but been there, done that. I could have decided to wax poetic about what Lewis Hamilton is doing in Formula One, but as great a story as that is, that's kind of old news too. You have to love what the U.S. women's team is doing in the World Cup, and I'm super excited about NBA free agency. But on this Monday morning, with all of the chaos and the turmoil in the Mets organization, I think Pete Alonso deserves some love here in the C-list. He's actually worth more of a story to me than talking about what happened with Mickey Callaway, Jason Vargas, and a Newsday reporter. Pete Alonso is having some season, folks. He is the absolute real deal. The Mets first baseman hit his 27th homer of the season Sunday to set the franchise rookie record. He now owns the National League rookie record before the All-Star break, and he may actually take down the MLB record. Alonso's homer in the top of the 4th inning off the Chicago Cubs' Cole Hamels traveled 454 feet to center at Wrigley Field. The home run is tied for his 2nd longest this season. Darryl Strawberry had held the Mets record for homers by a rookie since 1983. He was the National League Rookie of the Year that season, and he hit 26 homers in 122 games. Alonso hit 27 in just his 77th game, as I noted earlier. Check these stats, too. Alonso's record-setting home run had an exit velocity of 110 miles per hour. His 11th homer of the season with 110-plus miles per hour exit velocity, according to StatCast data. That's one shy of Yankee star Gary Sanchez, who leads baseball with 12 such home runs this season. The boy mashes. He deserves a spot in the All-Star game. To me, I would give him the Rookie of the Year right now. He's been that good. Alonso's 27 home runs are tied with Dave Kingman for most of Mets history before July 1st. Kingman did that all the way back in 1976. Mets need to make some immediate changes and build around this kid. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C. Love Pete Alonso. He's the man. Stay tuned. More Open back after this.